Hi, Augustine here again. If you didn't see part 1 of my little rant, I'm just going to summarize what I said in the last video. Basically, I talked about God and people's reasons for believing in God. Actually just one reason for believing in God, and that is that we need a scientific explanation for the beginnings of the universe, and that the Big Bang is unsatisfactory because it doesn't tell us how everything originated. I don't actually know if I said that in the last video, but that's what I was getting at. Okay, so my second argument that I wanted to go over was that we as people want an explanation for the elegance of the universe and nature as it is. I mean, if you look at like anything in this world, it's science and everything around us is absolutely amazing. Take the cell, for instance. I remember when I was in Biology 11 learning about the cell, and at first when I was learning about DNA replication and the formation of different enzymes in the nucleus of the cell, and learning about the different organelles in the cell, and then learning about the cell in relation to other cells, and like learning about the different functions of your organs, and learning about how they work together to make a person and consciousness and all this crazy stuff. How could you not believe in God? I don't believe in God, by the way. I'm an atheist. But like when I first learned about this stuff, it was kind of like, holy shit, like there's so much beauty in the way that an organism is designed. How could it not be designed? The first design is designed. The second use of the word design was designed the way that a creator created it. So let me just tackle this issue for a second. The theist will say something along the lines of, how is it that something so complex, i.e. us, animals, plants, like the very fact that we even work together, how does that come about? How does something like the cell come about from just chance? Now I think the problem here is our notion of chance and what it means for something to happen by chance. When someone says, oh, it just happened by chance, what we think is that, oh, so, you know, if the universe existed and there are a bunch of these free-floating chemicals and they smash together to make people and cells and all this sort of thing. No, 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 no. That's not how it happened. And please, theists, don't try to make that into the atheist's argument, because it's not. This whole notion of chance is very misleading, because there are forces which are acting upon us. We just don't associate these forces with God. Now I use the word forces with the quotation marks because it's sort of like they're not like physics forces. It's not like gravity and all this sort of thing. They're different. So it's like natural selection I'm talking about. Natural selection. What is natural selection? Basically, natural selection is this tendency for fitter organisms, that is, organisms that are more equipped to handle their environment. They are the ones that live on. And the ones that are a little bit faulty, a little bit, you know, don't endure as well, they die. Their progeny don't get to reproduce and all that sort of stuff. And it's just this tendency of nature. And what it does is it streamlines species, right? And so, well, then you might say, oh yeah, I know all about that, like Darwin, Origin of Species, like, how can I be stupid? But the theist will be like, okay, like I might believe in the process of natural selection, I might believe in evolution, but this doesn't give me a good enough reason to think that, or it doesn't give me an explanation for the beginnings of life, let's say. And to some extent, that's true. But scientists have theories of how life came about, very plausible theories. You know, the predominant one is that, or like all the originating theories have to do with organic molecules, you know, floating around on Earth, whatever, lightning hits them, and then it starts to create, or the lightning hits, and then we've got complex amino acids created, and then from that we get some sort of self-replicating protein. From there we can see that RNA starts to form, and then DNA, and these very beautiful sort of explanations for how this could have come about. Non-supernatural explanations. And so I think that a distinction needs to be made between what random chance, this notion of random chance, and the atheist's interpretation of how everything came to be, because it's not just chance. There are processes involved. It's just not God, a conscious being, imposing its will and creating these sorts of things. It's very tempting to believe that the cell was designed like we design a computer. And when you look at it, I mean, there's good I can understand why someone would look at a cell and be like, somebody had to create that, like an intelligent being must have created it. But if you look at the alternative explanation, the idea that it came about through these alternate forces, natural selection, and we had a huge amount of time for this to occur, a huge amount of time. And there's a lot of space in the universe as well. So if you look at all these different aspects of what makes up the scientific argument, it doesn't become that far-fetched anymore. And we don't have to say that the universe isn't beautiful or that it isn't complex, because it is. But the scientist tries to appreciate those complexities for what they are, and not impose some sort of moral, benevolent creator on top of it. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Go with science! Have a good day, everybody.